Stakes were high. The Kyoto Protocol was due to expire in 3 weeks' time, and if no extension was granted, the whole UN climate framework would be in big trouble. But at last, relief all round.
Conditional on the whole package, no objection.
Russian dissatisfaction was clear, and all sides said the deal fell short of recommendations by scientists to deal with rising temperatures.
Success in the sense that if you had asked me when I arrived, what can you get out of this COP, you think, then I would have mentioned actually the elements that we have today. So in that sense, a success. If you ask me, is this sort of a fantastic step forward when it comes to reducing emissions? No, it's not. This is more like a working COP where it's not very spectacular, it's not sort of revolutionary steps forward, but it's rather insisting steps forward, and that is very, very important.
So after 2 weeks of discussions, arguments and stalling, and after 36 hours of continuous negotiations, finally we have agreement. The Kyoto Protocol lives for another 8 years, albeit with fewer signatories and representing only 15% of global emissions. The rest of the world's emissions are due to be tackled under a new treaty still to be agreed in 2015. And the issue of climate finance, well, for the most part, rich nations like the United States were not interested in pledging cash as they grapple with the financial crisis.
After hours and hours of sleepless negotiation, we ended up with an incredibly weak deal. And WWF, along with all of the other civil society organizations, we are hugely disappointed. I mean, this is a year when people all over the world felt the impacts of climate change. Yet governments came here with no money for developing countries, no real emissions cuts, and no ambition to help themselves prepare for a global agreement in 2015. It's a weak deal. Don't let anyone tell you any different.
UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon warned in his opening address in Doha that events like Typhoon Bopha in the Philippines and Hurricane Sandy in the US could become the new normal. It's felt urgent action is required, but if this conference is anything to go by, urgency is in short supply. Nick Clark, Al Jazeera, Doha.